My sister, she's dying.
You need to be careful. From the moment you decided to pick up that fragment.
I just want to go home.
You are home. And the only thing you need to do is surrender.
Abby, please don't leave me. Please come back. I'm so scared. Even if there is only 1% chance, you should never give up.
You were one of my favorites.
What?
You still with us?
So, I just watched The Occupant, and honestly, I'm still trying to warm up. Not just because of the icy setting, but because this movie really leaves you sitting there, kind of chilled, kind of thoughtful, and a little bit confused, in both good and not so good ways. You ever watch something and go, okay, I liked that, but also, what exactly did I just watch? Yeah, that's where I'm at. Let me walk you through it. Don't worry, no big spoilers. I'll keep the mystery intact because that's half the fun of this one. So, the main character is Abby Brennan, played by Ella Balinska. Now, if you've seen her in anything else, you know she brings a strong presence, and here she's front and center the entire time. The story kicks off with Abby taking on this high-risk job as a geologist. Why? Well, her sister Beth is seriously ill, and Abby's desperate to raise money for some experimental treatment. That part hit me hard right away. You can feel the weight of it. Like, imagine knowing your sibling's life depends on you finding money in some dangerous, almost impossible way. Can you picture the kind of pressure that puts on you? Anyway, she signs up for this gig out in the wilderness of northern Georgia. And it's not your regular field work, it's tough, remote, and risky. But Abby's not thinking about herself, she's thinking about saving her sister. That's the emotional hook that really pulls you in. But of course, the job doesn't go smoothly. There's a helicopter crash, classic survival thriller moment, and suddenly Abby's left stranded in the middle of nowhere, freezing cold, limited supplies, and no one around. It's just her, the snow, and the fight to stay alive. Well, not exactly alone. She's got this voice on the radio, a man who calls himself John, played by Delaney. Now here's where things start to get juicy. You ever hear a voice in a movie and immediately think, wait, do I trust this guy? That's exactly the feeling here. John talks to Abby, tries to guide her, gives advice. But is he really there to help? Or does he have his own agenda? Or, and here's where the movie toys with you, is he even real at all? That's one of the big questions The Occupant throws at you, and it keeps you guessing. Alright, so let's get into the good stuff first. Number 1, Ella Balinska's performance. Honestly, this whole movie rests on her shoulders. She's in almost every frame, and if she wasn't convincing, this film would fall apart fast. But she nails it. She's tough when she needs to be, vulnerable when the moment calls for it, and she brings this raw emotion that makes you root for her. You feel her exhaustion, her fear, and most importantly, her determination to fight not just for herself but for her sister. That emotional core is what kept me locked in. Number 2, the atmosphere. Oh man, the cinematography is gorgeous but also brutal. You know when a movie makes you feel the environment so much that you want to grab a blanket? That's this one. The snowstorms, the freezing wind, the emptiness of the wilderness, it's shot in a way that makes nature feel like another character, not just a backdrop, but an actual enemy. And I think that's what makes survival thrillers work best, when the environment feels alive and dangerous. Number 3, the mystery. And this is the fun part. The whole John on the radio thing. Is he a savior, a threat, a figment of her imagination? The movie never gives you easy answers, and I like that. It keeps you leaning forward, paying extra attention, wondering what's real. Have you ever watched a film where you catch yourself second-guessing everything on screen? That's what this one does. And honestly, it's kind of addictive. Now, as much as I like some of those elements, I've got to be real with you. The movie has its rough patches. The pacing. Oh boy. The beginning pulls you in, the crash is intense, and the setup is strong. But then, the middle happens, and it just kind of drags. There are long stretches where not much is going on, and instead of building tension, it sometimes feels like filler. You know that feeling when you check your phone halfway through a movie? Yeah, that happened. the twists. I'm all for ambiguity and mystery, don't get me wrong, but sometimes it feels like the film is trying a little too hard to keep you guessing, like instead of naturally unfolding, it's throwing curveballs just to be clever, and after a while, that gets a bit tiring. You ever feel like a movie is deliberately holding back answers just to mess with you? That's what's happening here. The emotional weight. Okay, so this one's tricky. On one hand, Abby's love for her sister is powerful and gives the story real heart. On the other hand, the film leans so hard into it that it starts to feel a bit forced. Some people will find it heartbreaking, and others might roll their eyes like, all right, I get it. Personally, I was somewhere in the middle, moved at times, but also wishing it was a bit more subtle. And then there are the little logic gaps. I won't get into details because spoilers, but there are moments where I was like, wait, would she really do that? Or, does that actually make sense? Not enough to ruin the film, but enough to make you raise an eyebrow. So, here's what I think. The Occupant is more about the journey than the destination. If you go in expecting a fast, clean, straightforward survival thriller, you might come out frustrated. But if you're cool with a slower burn, with atmosphere, emotion, and some psychological twists thrown in, then it's worth the watch. For me, the standout is definitely Ella Balinska. She really proves she can carry a film almost entirely on her own. And those survival sequences, especially the quiet, eerie ones where it's just her against the snow, those scenes stuck with me. But be prepared. It's not always smooth sailing. The pacing dips, the story overcomplicates itself, and the ending doesn't tie everything up neatly. And depending on what kind of movie watcher you are, that's either going to leave you intrigued or annoyed. So, would I recommend The Occupant? Yeah, I would. With some caveats. If you're into moody, atmospheric survival stories that mess with your head a little, this is right up your alley. But if you're looking for edge-of-your-seat action from start to finish, you might find yourself checking out halfway through. Still, I got to admit, those eerie radio conversations between Abby and John? Those are the kind of moments that make you pause the movie, sit back and think, wait, what's really happening here? And for that alone, I think it's worth a watch. So what do you think? Are you a fan of these slow-burn survival thrillers, or do you get frustrated when a movie refuses to give you all the answers? And seriously, if you were stranded in the wild and some random voice popped up on your radio, would you trust them? I don't think I would. Alright, that's my take on The Occupant. Thanks for hanging out with me for this review, and hey, if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more movie chats, reviews, and deep dives coming your way, and I'd love for you to join the conversation. Drop a comment with your thoughts too. I love hearing what you guys think. Until next time, stay warm, stay safe, and I'll catch you in the next review.